What does University and StarCraft have in common? Why, it's the CSL. All right, we are here in game number 4 with the University of Windsor up 2-1 on the University of Toronto. So, we'll kick it off by introducing the University of Toronto player. It is a Protoss, an orange Protoss, looking to bring it back and tie up the series 2-2. It is Sour Spinach. And in the upper right, the legend killer. He is the Blue Zerg. No big deal. We did see No Big Deal take down in a gigantic victory last week Gerbil Light in a ZVZ, which helped Windsor to a big upset over Waterloo, looking to help bring down another big upset here against Toronto, as a win here will close out the series 3-1 if he can do it. This is on Tal'Darim Altar. We see some chat here about previous match we saw in the CSL where No Big Deal was not able to quite put away his Protoss opponent on Tal'Darim Altar, as that is the map we are on. Tal'Darim Altar, a very old map. For a long time, it was the only particularly large map in any map pool, so it had a lot of... It was a popular map because of that. It's fallen out of favor a bit, but we do see it in the rare league or tournament, so we are seeing it here as well. It is interesting in this matchup because it's probably the one map that is the Muta map for Zerg versus Protoss. This is the Muta map. If you're going to go Mutas on any map, it's this one. You can take bases all over. There's a ton of airspace just everywhere. So, as well as the large distance, making Zergling speed very useful as when you compare it to Roaches, which are still relatively quick, but takes much longer to get anywhere. We do have a probe sneaking in here. Does not look like No Big Deal is aware of it. Could see, doesn't look like we're going to see any sort of shenanigans here, but perhaps we will, going down to the natural. Could we see some shenanigans? Are we going to see shenanigans? Because I just want to keep saying shenanigans. It's just fun to say, but nope, looks like Sour Spinach is going to get out of there for the time being. Keep that probe around for a later date, maybe get down a proxy pylon much later on, or go in for an additional scout into the main. Check the gas timing, see if there's anything crazy going on, and try and avoid that. But, I mean, so far, it's looking pretty normal on both sides. Forge, expand, gasless hatch into quick 3 hatch. We do have this probe over here, not spotted, so we could see shenanigans now. Are we going to see shenanigans? Yes, I am going to use every excuse to be able to say shenanigans. The first queen popping out. There's the inject. Could see a drone transfer here. Quite a few hanging around in the main for the moment. They're not quite optimal. Here we go. Shenanigan time. Pylon here over at the 3rd. Queen not ready to head on over. Initial Zerglings. Not out. There are no Zerglings on the map. Now, is this visible? This is not visible at all. So that's why we're seeing no reaction out of No Big Deal. Putting down more cannons. Now, as it nears completion, it's pretty normal to put down more cannons to ensure that the hatch dies. But the problem is that he's going to cancel this at the last second. He's just not going to let that finish. There we go. There is the cancel. That means extra resources on canceling, plus extra resources on the extra cannon. But still worth it, I'd say, for a pylon 2 cannons to cancel that 3rd. However, now No Big Deal has to decide what he's going to do. He actually has no Zerglings on the map. He has no 3rd. Taking 4 gases now. So it looks like he's going to go into a two-base build. However, he is sneaking a drone over here, so he could be going for a hidden hatch, which is pretty dangerous play. I mean, it's not like it's like the most clever thing ever. Normally the Protoss will look for that after deny a hatch, but as I mentioned, Tal'Darim has expansions everywhere, so it makes it a little more reasonable in this case. So that will be able to be useful later on to get an additional gas sources if we're going to see Muta play, which is starting to look like since he's going into that two-base play. However, it does have the Roach Warren down, so that could be to... It could still be Muta play with the Roach Warren just in case. If we look in terms of what's going on now, it looks like it's going to be a transition into Robo for the Protoss player. We'll have to see if that's Robo into a third, or if we're going to see some sort of, Immortal Sentry all in. A little weird map, a little bit of a weird map to do that on, but the positions are okay for it comparatively. It would be really bad if it was going cross positions, but here in vertical positions, particularly with the natural facing the Protoss, I'd say not too bad. Potential, could pull it off. In the meantime, if we look at the tech, yes, indeed, we do have a Spire going down here in the main. So it looks like it will be Muta tech. We could use an inject over here on that hatch. There we go. And over here, we do have the third finishing up in the upper left. Not the most common location for that third. These cannons sitting here for quite a while. Looks like no big deal. Has no intention of cleaning those up anytime soon. Going to be going straight into that Muta tech. Now, unfortunately for the Protoss opponent, Sour Spinach is going directly into Colossus tech. Oh, he is getting Blink, though. He did get the Twilight Council down. Sorry, I missed that. So he is getting Blink, so that will help out. So on both techs, though, definitely going to slow down that third base. But with the Blink, it should help delay, and with the Twilight down, of course, that means you can transition into Templar tech. You do not want to be solely on Robo tech if you're going to be facing Mutas. And there we go. That's the first sign of spotting those Mutalisks, the potential for the Mutalisks. So, looks like this is going to come down to execution. Blink halfway done. Chrono needs to be going down on that. A lot of Chrono available. No Chrono boost going down, so that is a bit of a mistake. 10 Mutalisks coming out. Down comes the Templar Archives along with the additional pylon. So the Templar Archives is on the way, going to be trying to make that transition, but we and now seeing that Chrono on that. But we do have 10 Mutalisks now out on the field and heading in to try and do some damage. We'll have to see what it is able to get done so far. That base in the upper left is not scouted. The probe's still sitting up where the would-be fourth of the Zerg is. Muta's being relatively passive. So looks like that may be the play for the time being. Just going to keep those on the map. We do see a transition into Roaches, so not going to be going for that mass Muta play, looking to transition into base trading, but rather getting these initial Mutas out and kind of playing it like Zerg versus Terran, where you get that initial pack out, helps give you map control, a little bit of harass, shut down drops, and then you transition into your normal game, which is, of course, Infestors. We do have here, since it is against Protoss, and the addition of those Roaches, though. The Muta's still trying to get something done. A lot of cannons have been placed so far, so this investment, not too bad, even though he hasn't gotten a lot done. Directly. Picks off a Templar and gets out. Looks like he may have lost one Muta there. Another one goes down. So we do have just 8 Mutas left on the field. But uh-oh. 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 This is spotted. So this base in the upper left is now known. And what's worse is that No Big Deal does not know that it is known. If you know that it's known, then you can do some other things. And now this observer is going to go around, not going to spot this base over here in the middle left as of yet, but I would not be surprised to see a check around the rest of the bases. I mean, you've already seen one hidden base. Why not two? Look at the supplies, 141 to 119. That's actually not a bad position for the Protoss. The Zerg can potentially get up way ahead in terms of supply. This is not too far behind at all. Muse trying to be annoying. No, oh, the storm is available. There's the storm. Picks off the Templar, but takes a lot of damage. Does not lose any mutas though, because the stalker's just not there. Not a lot of stalkers on the field right now. Oh, 13. I guess they're very spread out. Muta's still trying to get anything done. 7 left now. No more being built though. This probe just still sitting around. I'm surprised there hasn't been anything sent up here to the upper left. I mean, he has the probe up there. He could put down a pylon and then warp in some zealots. Of course, there are the spine crawlers there now, but I mean, normally you'd expect something to be done. Or the Templar tech at DTs, but also covering his bases, no big deal with the Spore Crawler. So you would have to make a decent investment to take it out, but I think it would probably be worth it. You're still just poking around, keeping the Protoss contained. This third quite late, finishing up at only at 15.5 minutes. Our Zerg player didn't get a good jump in economy either, though, having to cancel that third. Still only on 62 drones. And transitioning into Hive Tech. The Hive finishing up any moment now. Not a bad timing. Going to be getting the Greater Spire, most likely. There we go. That has started a little later than wanted, but not horrible. Observer over top of this army, spotting everything. Just like this creep will spot anything that goes on top of it. So still could go either way. And there is the Dark Shrine, and it will be finishing up. We'll have to see if the DTs can get anything done. Potentially that is the plan, to go into that hidden base up in the upper left. But don't see any DTs morphing in as of yet. The Observer, of course, sees that army move out, so that could be the distraction. We do have a DT warped in. There's one going to the upper left. We have one going over to the third or natural or main. We have another DT moving out, but we do have a big engagement over here at the third. This is not the best position for the Zerg to fight into, but there isn't actually that big of a Protoss army. The Colossi get taken out. In comes a DT, shut down. DT not able to get into the main. DT up here in the upper left also shut down, so those DTs not able to get anything done. This DT here over at the third is denying this base for the moment, but there actually was not anything there, really, so not a whole lot lost. We look at workers killed. 7 for the Zerg. Protoss actually has not killed a drone in this game. Gets the hatch, though, so that DT was worth it. Going to get out of there now. Knows he has overstayed his welcome. And here comes another move out. Supplies 200 to 157. We do have a big bank for the Zerg. Not a huge gas bank, but decent at 1,000. Only 3 sentries mixed in here, so going to have to make very good use of those force fields. Only 1 Colossus, so a big roach army is kind of tough to deal with here. The Colossi just melting. +3 attack, but only +1 on the roaches, so the upgrade advantage well in favor of the Protoss, but the composition just isn't there. Looks like he's going to be able to focus down this Nexus just barely, maybe gets it, just barely, but supply drops under 100, going to have to use up that bank with 20 roaches in production, saves all of the corruptors, which I would expect to become broodlords at any moment. Going to move back to a safer position before morphing. Thank you, no big deal. I so often, oh, I want broodlords, let's make them here. You'd be surprised how often you see that even in high-level games. So, taking the precautionary measures, moving them back, morphing in a safe location. And the counterattack from Sour Spinach doesn't look like it's going to be in time. He is rebuilding the third, so this is not all in here, but he does not want to lose this army, and I'm not sure he can actually get anything done. Perhaps he's just going to take out the creep and go home. That would be a wise decision, I think. We do have a small group of slowlings moving across the map. A metabolic boost just started. How many lings we got here? We got 74 lings on the field right now. 74 lings on the field. And no speed. Going for the probe block on the slowlings. No storms going down though. Okay, so we got 1-1 on these lings. So the one big thing here that Protoss has in his advantage are those upgrades. He's at 3-1, so it's not spectacular by any means. Really he would have really been helped to stay on top of that. He just looks like he just has the one forge though. But you would really want to be on 3-3 at least by now. So he could be exploiting that advantage a bit more. But of course, resources are tight with that third being pressured and killed. Now over here, we do have this pylon building up a force to go try and take out this base in the upper left. And it looks like this will be enough. 5 zealots with +3 and an Archon versus 3 spine crawlers. Should be able to tear through this, and looks like that'll be it. In the meantime, we do have a push out of the main army as well, and it looks like they're going to clash in the middle, going to have to turn around, wait for those broodlords to engage. Looks like the Protoss army is going to turn around, so we can head back up here and see that, yes, in fact, this was enough to shut down this base completely. I mean, as I mentioned, he scouted this way earlier than this. He could have done much earlier to shut that down, so that potentially could have made a big difference in this game. But for what has to happen now, we need a really good engagement. Does the University of Toronto's Protoss player to hope to pull this back to a 2-2 and push it to Game 5? Because no big deal is pushing in with these broodlords. We got 9 broodlords. I can count 9 broodlords here in a very nice position. Even spreading out in case of mothership. Of course, we know that is not there. We don't even have a we don't even have a starport completed. Looks like he's going to take out this third base once again. A storm going down. Not very effective. The Colossi helping out to clear out the broodlings, but we really, Protoss does not have anything to clear out the actual broodlords in that position. Looks like for a second he may go for the counterattack, deciding against it. Loses the third here. There was really no way to fight into that. This could be the last stand here, moving in to try and take out this army. The bank is gone for the Zerg, as he just adds in a few roaches. So if the Protoss is able to take out this army, potentially you could turn this around. But there is just too much Zerg here. Infestor support, plenty of Broodlords, only a small group of Stalkers and a couple of Colossus left. 17 Stalkers to face up against still now 10 Broodlords. There goes the Cybernetics Corps. Looks like the counterattack may actually be coming, as there's just no way to deal with this Zerg army. It's just too much. Nope, now Protoss turning around again. Very indecisive here about what to do. Perhaps trying to hope the Zerg would move out of position. I can only speculate. There's the blink in. It's a good blink in, but is there enough left? There is still Roach support taking out quite a few of the Broodlords, but now the Stalker count dwindling. Broodlord count down to 6, but the Stalker count down to 5. 2 Archons there, 4 Broodlords left. A very close trade here, but now the Broodlords retreating to open airspace and not really able to be reached by anything, and now pushing back once again. Supply, though, during all of this, the problem is 20 probes left, only 2 bases completely mined out, 26 supply to 122. This looks like this may be over. There may be not a whole lot left on the map, but there's a whole lot more Zerg. And GG! The University of Windsor 3-1 over the University of Toronto, catching lightning in a bottle 2 weeks in a row. Two big upsets.